Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is a past episode taken from my podcast. I'm slowly moving my entire episode library to YouTube. Now, just as a heads up, there's no editing on these. You may hear me out of breath, traffic going by, and occasionally me tripping. It's literally just me talking in my phone while I'm walking around my neighborhood at night like a crazy person. Wonder what the neighbors think of that. Anyway, the episode info can be found in the description. With all that said, enjoy the show. Thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe. What's going on, everybody? This is Tanner from TanmanBaseballFan.com. It is Saturday afternoon. This Texas weather is killing me. It's crazy. It's like bipolar. I mean, we're probably close to 90 degrees today. So I think we're supposed to be getting 60s and 70s this next week. We'll see. You never know. The weatherman is always a constant liar, and I think Texas makes a liar out of him. But that's okay. Thankful to have a neighborhood to be able to walk around in and feel safe. And also to be able to talk to you on this podcast. Now, normally I do these at night. If I mix up a little bit, might be a little shorter this time. I don't know. But I want to tell you a little bit about what I was talking about, or what I was thinking about, to be able to kind of talk to you, is how can we figure out what to collect? And this question comes up quite a bit. And so it's going to also, the answer is going to be different for each person. So I'll kind of give you a few tips and tricks that I've learned, because my collection itself has been transformed many times in several different directions. So I think I have enough knowledge to be able to teach a few folks out there some information. Apologize for the traffic. This is completely off the cuff. And, so as always, my standard disclaimer, it's going to be rough and raw, and you're going to hear me mess up talking, and sometimes that might not even make sense. And so I apologize for that, but hopefully this will be at least good background noise for you. But anyway, so start off with the number one important thing when figuring out what you really like is to kind of determine what you personally like, and kind of split that from what you like just because everybody else thinks it's cool. And that's probably number one thing. I think that that little tidbit of information has been amplified ever since the advent of the internet for collectors, because a big part of our collecting, like it or not, is sharing our collections with everybody else and talking to them. So at any given time, I'm sure you probably can say that you have some pictures of your collection on your phone, maybe some baseball cards or whatever. That's just kind of how we roll nowadays. And you're ready to send pictures through private message, DM on Twitter, or texting each other, showing your friends. That's kind of our version of getting together at the corner on the 80s and 90s and showing each other what we picked up at the baseball card store. So, nothing's really changed. It's just different ways of doing things. So, thing is because we're sharing these online now, we obviously really like and appreciate and really crave the adoration from everybody else when you pick up a card. For instance, let's say I show a one of one Canseco shiny whatever. I post on Twitter, and I get say 50 or 100 likes. It's feels good. Or a couple comments, man, that's awesome, oh, that's beautiful, I wish I had that. And look, don't fool yourself. You do care about what people think. There's going to be a lot of people that say, oh, I don't care what they think whenever I post something, I just want to post it. No. It feels good getting compliments. That's just how we're wired as human beings, and that's okay. It's okay to admit that you like adoration and compliments from other people. So the problem is some people could turn the corner and say, well, do I really like these cards, or do I just like them because of the feedback that I get from them? And I've fallen into that trap sometimes as well. And to an extent, it can be unavoidable, and we just don't know. And we won't really know until after the feedback has died down, and then at the end it's just us and whatever cards we picked up in our rooms. And we got to take a long, hard look at them and say, do I really like this card? I mean, do I love it, or is it just something that's cool because everybody else thinks it's really neat? You know, like I said, I've fallen into this trap as well, and so the best way to go about doing this is you know, go ahead and make your purchases. If you don't know if it's something that you love versus you want to pick up just because it's hot, is make sure that you purchase it right. So buy it right. And I'll give you a kind of an example of, let's see, where can I go with this? Well, I'll give you an example with a Shane Bieber card. I think it was Shane Bieber from 2019 Stadium Club. About a month or so ago, a huge commotion was made because on the back, whether it was on purpose or on accident, Topps made mention of Justin Bieber in the back of the card instead of Shane Bieber. I don't know if Topps did it on purpose or not, or on accident, but either way, it was out there and it was noticed. And right when it got national exposure, dozens of them magically showed up on eBay being like super rare, which is kind of funny because nowadays there's rare cards, and you don't see my air quotes when I'm saying this, all over the place. You could see a Cal Ripken Jr., Nolan Ryan, Gary Carter, Albert Pujols, Mark McGwire, Will Clark, any of these guys, Frank Thomas, Griffey, Trout, the list goes on and on. They have all kinds of cards that are numbered to 5 or 10 or 15 or 20, 25, and these cards a lot of times will not go for like crazy money. Some will, of course, like Trout and Jeter might and that sort of thing, but there are many that won't. The reason why is because the market has been saturated with these quote-unquote rare cards. They're all over the place. 2019 we'll probably see you know, as many as 10, 20, 30 cards that are numbered to 5 of one specific player. Which kind of crazy, but that's just how collecting goes right now, and that's fine. But the funny part about it is we had for Shane Bieber, we had dozens and dozens and dozens of cards available on eBay at the same time, yet for some reason nobody quite understood that the card was not in fact rare. Not even looking at eBay, seeing the several dozen of them for sale. So they kept selling for, you know, $10, $20, $30. Some of them got to be between $100 and $200, and it was just really, really nutty. So I can almost guarantee you, and by the way, in case you didn't know already, it was not a rare card. It was never corrected. So literally every Shane Bieber card out there has Justin's name on the back. So it's ultimately it's just a 5-cent card. So you know, that's one thing that you definitely want to avoid, is getting caught up into the hype game on some of these cards, because guess what happens when you pick up a card like that for $25 and it dies down and nobody cares about that card anymore and it sells for 5 or 10 cents. You know, that's not going to feel too good, because you have a card that's really kind of worthless and you don't know what to do with. So buy right. Make sure that, you know, you're not part of you know, wanting to pick up something just because of the hype machine. And you know, if you purchase something, you know, you certainly want to make sure that other sales really kind of coincide with what you might possibly pick up something for. And also, you know, after a while, it's a great learning opportunity to, you know, kind of cast your net wide, pick up some things, as long as you have the education on what they actually sell for, and that way you can actually sell them for a little bit of money down the road instead, you know, with some extra cash in your pocket by way of profit. So that's kind of a fun way to do it, and I'll give you an example with my own vintage collection. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'd been working on a pre-war graded collection, and so I adore those cards. Love all the 19th century cards and everything. So a couple of the cards I picked up were ATA 7 Old Judge Harry Stovey You probably don't know who this player is. Harry Stovey played for the Philadelphia Athletics, I think it was back then, or Quakers. I don't remember which one, but and maybe some other teams as well. But he was the first baseball player to hit 100 home runs. Pretty cool, pretty cool. He actually changed his name because he didn't want his family to know that he was playing baseball. He was embarrassed. So like, what a crazy difference in time that we live in, that people were embarrassed because it was more of the game was completely different back then, and a bunch of ruffians would play back then, I guess is what they would call them. So, you know, pretty cool card, and a neat little stat that had to do with him hitting 100 home runs, and being the first to do so. Another one is in 1887, old Judge sliding Billy Hamilton. Now, the name Billy Hamilton might mean something completely different to you all. You probably think of the Reds player who steals all kinds of bases. I think he plays for the Reds. But sliding Billy Hamilton was actually the original Rickey Henderson. He was number 3. He is number 3 on the all-time stolen base list, if I remember correctly. Very brash, very cocky. I don't know if he talked about himself in third person like Rickey Henderson did, but very colorful character. But I picked up an old Judge card of his, and after a while, you know, I realized, yeah, this doesn't really do much for me. I want to stick with like Cap Anson, King Kelly, maybe Jack Glasscock for the Goodwin card, because I just adore that card. I think it's a beautiful card. But anyways, for one reason or another, the Stovey and the Hamilton didn't really make the cut for what I'm trying to do with my personal collection. Now, because I was patient, I was able to make a little bit of money off of it, on top of being able to sell for a very affordable price to the people that picked them up. So I'm happy, and they're happy. I have more cash in my pocket to be able to put toward some cards that truly mean something to me, as opposed to just some cool cards that are, you know, neat, but probably mean more to somebody else. So one way to go about really educating yourself as far as pricing goes is, you know, you want to go to eBay, number one, see how much people are selling the cards for that you're interested in, and number two, go to cardsnoop.com. I feel like I've referenced that website like almost every podcast. I promise I'm not affiliated with them, but it's just a very good utility. But you can go there and you can figure out what cards have actually sold for. So, for example, you might have, and I don't think you do, I don't think there's any Harry Stoveys out there for sale right now, but you might find 10 of them for sale for $800. Okay, well, you might be tempted in picking one up for $800 if you're going based on that. Well, the problem can be when you figure out that they only sell for $600. So what you want to do is, armed with that information, buy one for $600, or less if you can. Which, by the way, you won't be able to figure out, or won't be able to buy one for less than $600, most likely, unless it's just like a terribly beat up card. But anyway, so because that just is an example for me, for the Harry Stovey, I knew the pricing. I was able to pick up one for a good price and sold it after I determined that it wasn't for my collection, and had a little bit of cash in my pocket for profit. So good way going. It's definitely a good way of going. And so the more you do that, the more knowledge you pick up on your own to see how much cards sell for in the niche that you're interested in. So those are just a couple of thoughts I have, and let me see if I can think of anything else. I guess one thing we could do also is we can go through certain fun collecting ideas. For me, obviously, the thing I'm most well known for was collecting Jose Canseco, and I had a goal of trying to pick up one of every single card of his, which got pretty darn close. Yeah, it was fun. It was neat because it was a mission that I think that the community appreciated, and and helped me out on tremendously. But after I sold out, I came back and said, okay, how do I really want to collect? I still love Conseco cards, but what does that mean for, doing this again? So what I did was I figured out a number of cards that I really, really, really loved, and that were either expensive or not, and targeted those. So that might have included, maybe some of the 90s refractors, but not all of them, and only centered ones, and not ones with print lines. I was interested in the, let's see if I can think of anything here. Like the 97 Pinnacle totally certified platinum cards. I wanted the gold, didn't really care much about the red or blue. The same thing goes for the new rainbow. So if you're a collector of cards from the past, like, I want to say 10 years or so, that there's all kinds of rainbow parallels for almost every card. So you have like a Topps Tribute card, for example, or Triple Threads. You might have the same card that's serial numbered 5-10 different times. For me personally, I'm not really interested in doing that. So I'll give you an example also for Stadium Club. So 2018 Stadium Club, beautiful card. They have, and I'm not even going to be able to remember how many there are total, but I know there's the base card, the chrome, the base autograph, the chrome autograph, the orange foil, black foil, sepia, black and white, rainbow I-25 auto, refractor auto, gold mint refractor, super refractor auto. So there's all kinds of different versions that you can take a look at. So for me, this time a couple years ago, I would have said must have all, and I'm not that way anymore. So I decided to target base regular, a base chrome. So we're talking like 50-cent cards, if that. Refractor, a base refractor, and a gold mint refractor. So I bypassed all the autographs, all the other variations. I just stuck with the ones that I liked, and those are the cards that fill my current collection, which has made me wildly happy, because it doesn't make me want to pick up anything and everything just for completion's sake. And I understand, I get it. You might be different. You might be wrapped up in the completionist mindset, and that's fine. Just obviously be careful with your finances, and realize, number one, that you will not be able to pick up everything that they make unless you're independently wealthy. And I'll say, it can be a black hole. It really can, because you never want to put yourself at the mercy of the card makers as far as what they put out. And a lot of times nowadays, the card companies, they'll have different variations, but they'll also do proofs of those variations, so or of those parallels. So let's say there's one card company that creates sometimes 4 or 5 different one of ones. You have like the red one of one, the gold one of one, purple one of one, black one of one, super refractor one of one, and then later on they'll do a version of each one of those also that are blank backs or something, and they'll label them as one-on-ones also. So kind of a little bit misleading. Maybe not misleading, but just need to understand that just because it says one of one doesn't mean it's the only one of one. Even in the same set, which for me, I didn't really like how that would go. So anyways, as far as another collecting avenue that I went was for unopened wax boxes of from the 1980s for the most part. And this is actually a good example that I can tell you about as well. So the way I started out is I thought I would get a sealed wax box from every year in every card company from 1980, which is when I was born, until like 1993 or so when I stopped. So along the way, I started thinking, man, these Rack Pack boxes are cool. It's even cooler, the cello boxes. So, and Leaf and O-Pee-Chee. So instead of just being 80 Topps wax, 81 Topps Donnerson Fleer wax, all the way through to 88, and then you had Score, 89 you had Upper Deck, and I add Leaf, and then when you add Stadium Club, it got really, really hairy really quick. So I ended up buying some cello boxes, rack boxes, and ended up picking up some 93 boxes like SP and Finest. I mean, these are some high dollar items. And after a while, I realized, I don't really want to go this way. I want to go ahead and just focus on the wax, and maybe just for the 80s and maybe up to 92, because really that was kind of the heart of my collecting. So I sold the cello boxes and the rack boxes and the Leafs and O-Peaches. I might have an 85 Leaf box still that's unopened, I don't recall. But the other thing is I wanted to make sure that all of my boxes were FASC, and that stands for From a Sealed Case, and authenticated by the Baseball Card Exchange. So that was a big, big deal to me. Now I'll tell you why. I love the idea of an open box, like say for instance 1989 Upper Deck, to have been certified by BBC Exchange as having been from a case that was sealed. Because what happens is, if the box itself isn't sealed, then somebody could have rifled through the packs with the knowledge of the sequential number order and pull out the pack that will most likely have a Griffey and replace with another pack. I don't like that. Nobody likes that kind of thing. So I want to make sure mine were authenticated from being directly from a sealed case. So I kind of narrowed it down, 80 to 92, basically one box of everything, just wax, no Leaf or O-Peachy, no racks, no cellos, and that was just kind of for my collection. So I ended up doing that. I've got most of them that I need, and some that are some boxes FASC are just like non-existent. So I don't think I'll be able to see all of them, and that's okay. I was able to just kind of stick with authenticated boxes of 84 Fleer, 85 Fleer. I think I'm still looking for an A3 Tops wax from sealed case, and maybe a few of the newer ones are like really not worth anything all that much, but anyways, I love those boxes. I love the artwork, and it just reminds me so much of my childhood. And it's so, to me, those boxes from the 80s mean way more than the actual cards themselves. Like for instance, a box of like 1989 Tops. I drool over those boxes and the artwork. Now, if I had a pile of 89 Tops on my desk, not so much. I'd say, I gotta get this stuff out of here. So the boxes themselves are great display pieces. I enjoy them so much, so that's why I decided to go into collecting those. As far as pre-war stuff, all graded, all low graded. We're talking authentic, altered through like 2 for the most part. Some 3, some 4s, but mostly authentic through 2, provided they have nice centering and seldom ever have creasing and have fantastic eye appeal. So for me, graded vintage of key guys like Ty Cobb, Honest Wagner, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, all these guys, I love them in super low grades, but ideally for me is if they have some back damage. I never look at the backs, so I'm super excited to get something in low grade that looks great on the front, but not necessarily on the back. So my 48 Leaf Jackie Robinson rookie, for example, great card. The front is very presentable. The back has some paper loss, and that just has my name all over it. So, but it took a while. It took a while for me to kind of drill down and see exactly what I wanted to do with my collection. And so now I'm kind of firing on all cylinders. I know exactly what I want, and it didn't cost me an arm and a leg to figure it out. Like, I didn't lose my shirt because I bought these right. And so I've sold a bunch of other 19th century cards, and I'll give you an example as well. I picked up this 1887 Allen and Ginter complete set, all graded by SGC, all of them graded 1, but the fronts were pack fresh, beautiful. The problems were back then, what they would do is they would glue them in albums, so each one of them had problems with paper loss on the back. Well, I mean, those are fantastic. I love those. So what I did was, out of the 50 card set, I ended up purchasing a suitcase Very nice looking suitcase. If you look on my website in some of the blog posts, like maybe earlier this year, you'll see them. The set is just amazing. 50 subjects. There's only 10 baseball players. So what I did was I ended up selling all 40 of everybody else, including the suitcase, and kept to the baseball. So it was kind of a fun thing to do. But when you do that, you really got to make sure you know your numbers, because it was a very costly purchase. And what I wanted to make sure of is I wanted to make sure that I could, within the purchase price of it, I wanted to make sure that I could sell the non-baseball and keep the baseball, but only if whenever I sold the baseball, that I could make a little bit of money off of it afterwards. So I did a really good job on that. You know, I'm really pleased with how that came out. And plus, I don't have like this massive suitcase on my display table anymore. I do have the 10, which are exactly what I wanted to keep. So, you know, sometimes you have to do that as well. You pick up big collections or sets, and you know, it kind of requires you to get rid of part of it in order to get some cash back out of it, and for the set to make, or for the cards to make sense to be in your collection. And that's okay, because cards are like super easy to get in and out of as far as buying and selling goes. They're easily liquidatable. I don't know. They're easy to be bought and sold, provided you buy at the right price and you sell at the right price. So just a couple ideas I had for you this Saturday afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well over there, wherever you are right now. And it does look like I better be getting home, because I might be poured on pretty soon here. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have on collecting or baseball cards in general. You can reach me at Twitter at TanmanBBFan, and youtube.com/TanmanBaseballFan, email TanmanBaseballFan@gmail.com, website TanmanBaseballFan.com, and don't forget to check out my book. It is on sale for $9.95, and for Amazon Prime members, it's free shipping, and the name of it is Confessions of a Baseball Card Addict. Thank you guys. Have a fantastically terrific weekend.